Admiral Jack Morrison stood at the command deck of his hidden base on Europa, watching the ice storms rage across the moon's surface. 10 long years had passed since the Kalari hegemony placed their blockade around Earth's solar system. 10 years since they declared humanity too dangerous for the galaxy and trapped them like animals in a cage. The alien coalition consisted of 12 different species, all of them more advanced than humans in technology and firepower. They had positioned their massive ships at every jump point leading out of the solar system. Their message was clear and simple: surrender completely or face total destruction. Morrison remembered that dark day when the alien ambassador first appeared on every screen across Earth. The creature looked like a walking nightmare with 6 arms and glowing red eyes. It spoke, in perfect English through some kind of translation device. "Humans are too aggressive," it had said. "You expand too quickly and fight too much. We will contain you until you learn peace." Most people on Earth believed they had no choice but to accept defeat. The aliens had weapons that could destroy entire planets. Their shields could stop any human weapon. Their ships moved faster than anything humanity had ever built. The Earth Defense Fleet had tried to fight back in those first months, but 40 ships against thousands was no contest at all. But Morrison and a small group of officers had a different plan. While the politicians on Earth talked about surrender and the civilians went about their daily lives, these military leaders began something they called Operation Exodus. They moved their remaining ships to hidden bases throughout the outer planets and moons. Dr. Lisa Carter was the genius behind their secret project. She had been working with alien technology that they captured during the early skirmishes. Her team of scientists and engineers worked day and night in hidden laboratories carved deep into asteroids. They studied every piece of alien equipment they could find. "Jack, you need to see this," Dr. Carter said as she walked into Morrison's office. Her clothes were dirty from working in the asteroid mines, and she looked tired. She had been pushing herself for months without rest. "What did you find, Lisa?" "We figured out how their shields work. More importantly, we figured out how to break them." She placed a small device on his desk. It looked like a normal human computer chip, but Morrison could see tiny alien symbols etched into the metal. "This is a hybrid system," she explained. "We took their shield technology and combined it with our own weapons. The aliens think they know everything about human capabilities, but they have never seen anything like this." Morrison picked up the device and examined it closely. "How many ships can we equip with this?" "That depends on how much time we have. The mining operations in the asteroid belt are producing materials faster than we expected. If we can stay hidden for another year, we could build something impressive." Captain Ryan Brooks entered the office without knocking. His face was pale and his hands were shaking. "Admiral, we just intercepted an alien communication. You need to hear this right away." Brooks activated a small recording device. The alien voice was cold and mechanical as it spoke. "Sector Commander Zektar reporting. Human settlements in the Proxima system have been eliminated as planned. The colonists never knew what happened. Earth remains unaware of our actions beyond the blockade." Morrison felt his blood turn cold. There were human colonies beyond the blockade that Earth had lost contact with 10 years ago. Everyone assumed the colonists had simply been cut off from communication. Nobody suspected they had been murdered. "How many settlements?" Morrison asked. "At least 12 that we know of. Probably more." Brooks sat down heavily in a chair. "Admiral, they're not just keeping us trapped. They're killing every human they find outside our solar system." Dr. Carter's face showed pure rage. Those were families out there. Children, scientists, farmers trying to build new homes. Morrison walked to the window and stared out at the ice storms. For 10 years he had been planning a defensive war to protect Earth. Now he realized they needed something much bigger. They needed to hit back so hard that the aliens would never threaten humanity again. "Lisa, how fast can we expand the shipbuilding program?" "If we use every hidden facility and work around the clock, we could have a substantial fleet in 18 months. But Admiral, we're talking about a massive undertaking. We would need to coordinate construction across dozens of locations without the aliens detecting anything." Morrison turned back to face his officers. "Ryan, I want you to contact every resistance cell in the outer planets. Tell them Operation Exodus is now our top priority. Every available person gets assigned to ship construction or support operations. What about Earth Command? They still think we're just running small harassment missions. Earth Command can keep believing that. The fewer people who know about this, the better. The aliens have been monitoring our communications for years. If even one person talks, we lose everything. Captain Nina Rodriguez had been standing quietly in the corner during the entire conversation. She was Morrison's best intelligence officer and had spent years mapping alien positions throughout the solar system. Admiral, if we're really going to do this, we need perfect information about their defenses. What do you need? Permission to take my stealth ship closer to their main positions. The aliens have grown comfortable over the past few years. Their patrol schedules are predictable and they're not watching as carefully as they used to. I think I can get close enough to gather detailed scans of their ships and weapons. Morrison considered the risk. If Rodriguez was captured, the aliens would learn about their plans. But without good intelligence, any attack would be suicide. Do it. But Nina, if there's even the slightest chance of detection, you get out of there immediately. We can't afford to lose you or have them discover what we're planning. Over the following months, the hidden shipyards throughout the asteroid belt worked without pause. Miners who had been extracting ice and minerals were now gathering materials for ship construction. Engineers who had been maintaining life support systems were now designing weapons. Even civilian families contributed by manufacturing small components in their homes. The aliens continued their regular broadcasts to Earth, demanding surrender and promising mercy for those who cooperated. They had no idea that every human settlement was now part of a massive military production effort. Morrison received daily reports from the construction teams. The numbers were incredible. Where they had started with 40 functional ships, they now had hundreds in various stages of completion. Dr. Carter's hybrid technology was being installed in every new vessel, giving them capabilities that would surprise any alien who encountered them. The Admiral knew they would only get one chance at this. If their attack failed, Earth would face complete destruction. But if they succeeded, humanity would never again be trapped and helpless, while their people were murdered in distant star systems. As Morrison watched another supply convoy depart for the hidden shipyards, he allowed himself a small smile. The aliens believed Earth would stay quiet and accept defeat. Instead, they had given humanity 10 years to prepare for war. Ambassador Zektar stood before the assembled council of alien species aboard the massive command ship, Eternal Judgment. The ship was so large it could hold entire cities, and it served as the mobile headquarters for the Kalari hegemony's operation, to contain humanity. Representatives from all 12 member species were present for this important meeting. Honored council members, Zektar began in his mechanical voice, I am pleased to report that the Human Containment Project continues to exceed our expectations. Earth has remained completely quiet for the past 10 years. Their military forces have made no significant moves, and their civilian population appears to have accepted our authority. The Vorthan representative, a creature with blue skin and 4 eyes, leaned forward in his chair. What about their outer planet settlements? Our scouts reported some unusual energy readings near Jupiter's moons. Minor mining operations only, Zektar replied confidently. The humans are simply trying to maintain their basic life support systems. Our monitoring stations would detect any significant military activity immediately. Captain Nina Rodriguez drifted silently through space in her modified stealth ship, just 3 kilometers from the alien command vessel. Her ship was so small and well shielded that it appeared no larger than a piece of space debris on any scanner. She had been listening to alien communications for months, learning their languages and understanding their tactics. What she heard in the council meeting made her both angry and excited. The aliens were completely unaware of humanity's preparations. They believed their own propaganda about human weakness and defeat. This overconfidence would be their downfall. Rodriguez activated her recording systems and continued to monitor the meeting. Every piece of information could be vital when the time came to strike. Inside the council chamber, the hegemony leaders were celebrating their success. The Kalani delegate, a floating creature surrounded by a cloud of gas, spoke. Next. The human problem has been solved more easily than we predicted. Their aggressive nature seems to have been completely suppressed by our show of force. Indeed, agreed the Thralian commander, whose species looked like walking trees with glowing bark. Perhaps we were overly cautious in our initial assessment. The humans have proven to be much weaker than we expected. Zektar nodded his massive head. I recommend we reduce our patrol schedules in the outer system. The humans pose no threat, and our resources could be better used elsewhere. We have received requests for assistance in the Andromeda sector where a real military challenge awaits. Unknown. To the aliens, Commander Steve Phillips was coordinating with resistance cells throughout the solar system at that exact moment. His communication network used quantum encryption that the aliens had never encountered. Every human facility was connected through this hidden system, allowing perfect coordination while maintaining the appearance of defeat. Phillips sat in a bunker on Ganymede, surrounded by screens showing construction progress from dozens of locations. The shipyards were working at maximum capacity, with new vessels being completed every day. Each site was carefully camouflaged to look like civilian infrastructure or abandoned facilities. Team 7 reports the heavy cruiser construction is ahead of schedule, reported Lieutenant Amy Watson, Phillips' communications officer. They estimate completion in 6 weeks. What about the Titan facility? Major Greg Thompson says they've finished installing the new weapon systems on all units. The hybrid technology is performing better than Dr. Carter predicted. Phillips allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. The deception was working perfectly. The aliens saw exactly what humanity wanted them to see, while the real preparation continued in secret. Back on the alien command ship, Zektar was presenting detailed reports about human activities. Every report was wrong, but the aliens had no way of knowing this. Their arrogance had made them lazy and their technology had made them overconfident. Our deep space monitors show no unusual ship movements, Zektar continued. Human commercial traffic remains at minimal levels, consistent with a defeated civilization focused only on basic survival. The Hegemony Council members were pleased with this news. They had expected to spend decades dealing with human resistance, but instead found a species that seemed to collapse completely when faced with superior force. Rodriguez continued recording everything from her hidden position. She learned about patrol schedules, weapon capabilities, and most importantly, the locations of every major alien ship in the solar system. The aliens were so confident in their security that they discussed classified military information openly. Her sensors detected movement as several alien patrol ships departed for the outer system. Just as Zektar had announced, they were reducing their forces. The Hegemony was making the classic mistake of underestimating their enemy. Dr. Lisa Carter received Rodriguez's intelligence reports at her hidden laboratory deep inside the asteroid belt. The information confirmed what she had hoped. The aliens were using standard patrol patterns and had not upgraded their defensive systems in years. They believed their technological superiority was so overwhelming that humans could never pose a real threat. This gave Carter's team a crucial advantage. They had been studying captured alien technology for years, learning its strengths and weaknesses. More importantly, they had developed countermeasures that the aliens never expected to encounter. The shield harmonics are exactly what we predicted, Carter told her chief engineer as they reviewed Rodriguez's scans. Our new weapons will cut through their defenses like they don't exist. Meanwhile, Admiral Morrison was reviewing the final construction schedules at his command post on Europa. The numbers were incredible. From 40 damaged ships 10 years ago, they now had thousands nearing completion. Each vessel incorporated the best human engineering with captured alien technology, creating hybrid systems that surpassed anything either species had built alone. The aliens had made a critical error in giving humanity access to their technology through the initial battles. Every captured component had been studied, reverse-engineered, and improved upon. Human creativity combined with alien science had produced something neither species could have achieved separately. As Rodriguez prepared to return to base with her intelligence, she intercepted one final alien communication that made her smile. Zektar was reporting to his superiors in distant star systems that the human problem had been solved permanently and that hegemony forces could be reassigned to other sectors. The aliens were so convinced of human defeat that they were actually reducing their presence in Earth's solar system. They had turned a blockade into a casual monitoring operation, confident that the humans would never dare to challenge their authority. Rodriguez's stealth ship slipped away from the alien fleet undetected, carrying intelligence that would make the difference between victory and defeat. The aliens believed they were containing a broken enemy, but in reality, they had given that enemy everything needed to plan the perfect counterattack. As she flew back toward the hidden base, Rodriguez thought about the irony of the situation. The hegemony had blockaded Earth to prevent human expansion and aggression, but their actions had instead united humanity like never before. Every human settlement was now working toward a single goal, and the aliens had no idea what was coming. The council meeting aboard the Eternal Judgment concluded with celebrations and commendations for a successful operation. The alien leaders were convinced they had permanently solved the problem of human expansion. They had no way of knowing that their greatest enemy was not the humans they had fought 10 years ago, but the humans they had created through 10 years of isolation and preparation. Soon the galaxy would learn that caging humanity had not made them weaker. It had made them infinitely more dangerous. The battle that followed would be remembered across the galaxy for generations. 12,000 human ships moved in perfect coordination, executing maneuvers that the alien hegemony had never seen before. Every weapon fired with precision, every formation moved with purpose, and every attack demonstrated years of careful planning. Captain Nina Rodriguez's Vanguard fleet struck the alien outer defenses like a hammer. Her ships used their superior speed and maneuverability to avoid the heavy alien weapons while targeting crucial support systems. The aliens found their supposedly impregnable battle stations falling one after another. Vanguard 2, take out their sensor array. Vanguard 5, target their shield generators, keep moving and don't give them a stationary target. Rodriguez watched her tactical display as alien ships tried desperately to adapt to human tactics. Their weapons were designed to fight enemies who used similar technology and similar strategies. They had no experience fighting an opponent who had spent 10 years studying their weaknesses. Commander Steve Phillips led his heavy assault division against the main alien battle fleet. His massive ships had been built for one purpose: destroying enemies with superior individual firepower through coordinated group tactics. The aliens quickly learned that numbers could overcome technology when properly applied. All heavy assault units focus fire on the command ship. Take out their leadership, and the rest will lose coordination. Phillips's flagship fired its main batteries at the alien heavy cruiser leading the enemy formation. The hybrid weapons developed by Dr. Carter's team tore through alien shields and armor with devastating efficiency. The enemy ship exploded in a ball of fire that lit up the space around it. The aliens tried to respond with their own coordinated attacks, but they found their weapons largely ineffective against human shields. The technology they had dismissed as primitive had been enhanced with their own captured systems, creating defenses that were superior to anything they possessed. Lieutenant Colonel Amy Watson's fighter squadrons were creating chaos throughout the alien formation. Her pilots used tactics that took advantage of human reflexes and creativity, fighting in ways that confused alien gunners who relied heavily on automated targeting systems. Gold leader to all fighters, remember your training. These aliens fight like machines. Use your instincts and stay unpredictable. Watson's own fighter dove through a formation of alien interceptors, her weapons destroying 3 enemy ships before they could react. Human pilots, trained in the varied conditions of Earth's solar system, proved superior to alien crews who had grown comfortable with technological advantages. The alien command structure was falling apart under the sustained human assault. Ambassador Zektar stood on the bridge of the Eternal Judgment, watching his carefully planned blockade dissolve into chaos. The humans were not just winning. They were dominating the battle in ways that seemed impossible. Tactical officer, what is the status of our main battle fleet? Sir, we have lost 60% of our ships. The remaining vessels are scattered and unable to maintain formation. Human weapons are proving far more effective than our intelligence suggested. Zektar realized that the hegemony had made a fatal error in judgment. They had assumed that technological superiority would be enough to contain humanity permanently. Instead, they had given their enemy the time and motivation needed to surpass them completely. Major Greg Thompson's ground-based operations were providing crucial support to the space battle. His hidden weapons platforms emerged from their disguises all across the inner solar system, creating a network of defensive fire that made it impossible for alien ships to retreat safely. All lunar batteries target the alien support ships. Don't let any of them escape to report what they've seen here. Thompson watched with satisfaction as his railguns destroyed alien vessels trying to flee the system. Every enemy ship that escaped would report humanity's capabilities to the broader hegemony, potentially bringing massive retaliation fleets. Better to end this battle decisively and completely. Captain Ryan Brooks led his rapid strike force in surgical attacks against specific alien targets. His ships were smaller than the main battle vessels, but their speed and precision made them perfect for eliminating key enemy systems. Strike Force Alpha, take out their communication relays. Strike Force Beta, target their ammunition supplies. Make every shot count. Brooks's own ship dove toward an alien ammunition transport, its weapons firing continuously. The transport exploded in a chain reaction that destroyed 2 nearby escort ships. This was the kind of tactical precision that human forces had trained. For during their years of isolation, Dr. Lisa Carter monitored the battle from her laboratory, tracking the performance of every hybrid system her team had developed. The weapons were exceeding all projections, and the shield technology was proving nearly impenetrable to standard alien armaments. Admiral Morrison, our systems are performing at 120% of design specifications. The aliens appear to have no effective countermeasures for our technology. Morrison felt a deep satisfaction as he watched the tactical displays show alien resistance crumbling throughout the solar system. The species that had trapped humanity for 10 years was learning what happened when they underestimated human determination and creativity. All fleet commanders prepare for the final assault. Target the alien command ship and end this blockade permanently. The Eternal Judgment found itself surrounded by human ships as the battle reached its climax. Sektar's massive command vessel had been the symbol of alien dominance for a decade, but now it was just another target for human weapons. Ambassador, we should consider surrender, suggested the Vorthon tactical officer. Our forces are completely overwhelmed. Continuing to fight will only result in total destruction. Sektar looked around his bridge at the faces of his crew. For the first time in his long military career, he was facing an enemy that was superior in every way that mattered. The humans had not just matched hegemony technology, they had surpassed it completely. The final phase of the battle was swift and decisive. Human ships closed in from all directions, their weapons systematic ally destroying what remained of the alien fleet. The blockade that had lasted 10 years ended in less than 6 hours of combat. Morrison opened communication channels to the surviving alien ships. His voice carried the authority of absolute victory. This is Admiral Morrison to all hegemony vessels. You are defeated. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Any ship that attempts to flee or fight will be destroyed. The response came from multiple alien commanders simultaneously, their voices overlapping in surrender. The proud hegemony fleet that had arrived 10 years ago to cage humanity was now begging for mercy from the species they had tried to contain. As the battle ended, Morrison looked out at the wreckage of alien ships scattered throughout Earth's solar system. The blockade was broken, the threat was eliminated, and humanity was free to expand into the galaxy once again. But more importantly, they had proven that the human spirit could not be contained by any force in the universe. The aliens had believed that Earth would stay quiet and accept defeat. Instead, they had created an enemy more dangerous than anything the galaxy had ever seen. 12,000 ships had delivered a message that would echo across the stars. Humanity would never again allow itself to be caged. 6 months after the battle that shattered the hegemony blockade, Admiral Jack Morrison stood in the conference room of New Geneva Space Station, looking out at a sight that would have been impossible just a year ago. Human ships moved freely through space, traveling to destinations that had been forbidden for 10 years. The defeated aliens sat across the negotiation table, their previous arrogance replaced by barely concealed fear. Ambassador Zektar, once the proud representative of galactic authority, now spoke with the careful tone of someone who understood they were completely at the mercy of their former prisoners. Admiral Morrison, the Hegemony Council has authorized me to offer full reparations for the damage caused by our blockade. We are prepared to provide technological exchanges, territorial concessions, and formal recognition of human sovereignty throughout this sector. Morrison studied the alien delegation with calm satisfaction. The species that had murdered human colonists and threatened Earth with destruction were now offering everything humanity had ever wanted. But the Admiral had learned important lessons during the long years of isolation. Ambassador, your people made a critical error when you decided to cage humanity. You assumed that isolation would make us weak, but instead it made us stronger than you ever imagined possible. Now you're discovering what it means to negotiate with a species that refuses to be contained. Dr. Lisa Carter entered the conference room, carrying a data tablet filled with technical specifications. Her hybrid technology had not only won the war, it was now revolutionizing human space travel and colonization. Ships equipped with her systems could travel farther and faster than anything the galaxy had previously seen. Admiral, the first wave of colony ships is ready to depart. We now have the capability to reach systems that were previously beyond human range. The technology we developed during the blockade has opened up possibilities we never dreamed of. Carter's words carried weight that the aliens understood perfectly. Humanity was no longer limited by their previous technological constraints. The isolation meant to contain them had instead forced them to innovate beyond anything the galaxy had achieved. Captain Nina Rodriguez had become the commander of humanity's first deep space exploration fleet. Her ships were already mapping star systems that had been controlled by the hegemony for centuries, establishing human presence in regions where no human had ever traveled. Admiral, our scouts have identified 12 systems suitable for immediate colonization. The alien populations in these areas are requesting negotiations rather than resistance. Word of our victory has spread throughout this sector of the galaxy. Morrison allowed himself a small smile at the irony. The species that had tried to prevent human expansion were now watching helplessly as humanity spread farther and faster than ever before. The cage had become a launching pad. Commander Steve Phillips had been appointed as the head of the new Human Defense Academy, established on Mars to train the next generation of officers. The lessons learned during the Quiet Decade, as historians were calling it, would ensure that humanity never again found itself unprepared for external threats. We're receiving applications from every human world, Phillips reported. Young people who grew up during the blockade want to join the fleet and explore the galaxy. The isolation that was supposed to break our spirit instead created a generation determined to ensure it never happens again. The alien delegates shifted uncomfortably as they listened to reports of human expansion and military preparation. They had expected to negotiate with a defeated enemy seeking basic survival. Instead, they found themselves facing a species that had become the dominant power in their region of space. Major Greg Thompson had been promoted to oversee the construction of new defensive installations throughout human space. The hidden weapons platforms that had helped win the battle were now being expanded into a network that would protect human worlds from any future threats. Our defensive grid now covers 15 star systems and is expanding daily. Any species that considers threatening human civilians will face immediate and overwhelming retaliation. Thompson's words carried the weight of demonstrated capability. The aliens had seen what human weapons could do to their supposedly superior technology. They had no desire to test those weapons again. Captain Ryan Brooks commanded the rapid response, fleets that were establishing human authority throughout the former blockade zone. His ships moved with the speed and precision that had characterized the victory over the hegemony, ensuring that humanity's new position was respected by all local species. Admiral, we've received surrender offers from 3 more alien military organizations. They're requesting permission to withdraw from systems they've controlled for decades rather than face human expansion fleets. Morrison nodded with satisfaction. The psychological impact of the victory was proving as important as the military success. Species throughout the galaxy were learning that humanity could not be contained or controlled by external force. Lieutenant Colonel Amy Watson had established new fighter training programs that combined human creativity with captured alien technology. Her pilots were becoming legendary throughout human space for their skill and innovation. The next generation of pilots will be even better than the ones who won the blockade battle. We're training them to fight enemies we haven't even encountered, yet using tactics that no alien species will be able to predict or counter. As the negotiations continued, it became clear that the balance of power had shifted permanently. The hegemony species that had once dictated terms to humanity were now requesting permission to maintain small presences in systems they had controlled for centuries. Dr. Carter's technology continued to advance at an incredible pace. The hybrid systems developed during the isolation were being improved and expanded, giving humanity capabilities that surpassed anything the galaxy had previously seen. Admiral, our latest ships can travel distances that were impossible just 2 years ago. We're not just expanding into the local sector anymore. We're capable of reaching entirely new regions of the galaxy. Morrison looked out at the star field visible through the conference room windows. Somewhere out there were the human colonies that had been destroyed by the hegemony. Their sacrifice had not been forgotten, and their deaths had been avenged in the most complete way possible. Ambassador Zektar, I want you to understand something very clearly. Your people tried to cage humanity because you thought we were too aggressive for galactic society. You were right about our nature, but wrong about what that meant. Humans don't become peaceful when threatened. We become more dangerous. The alien ambassador's mechanical voice carried notes of resignation and fear. Admiral, what does humanity want from the galaxy now? Morrison considered the question carefully. The human species had been transformed by their decade of isolation. They had become something stronger and more capable than they had ever been before. The galaxy would have to adapt to this new reality. We want what we've always wanted: the freedom to explore, to expand, and to grow. The difference is that now we have the power to take that freedom if it's not given freely. Your blockade was supposed to contain us, but instead it taught us that we're stronger when we're united and more dangerous when we're threatened. As the conference concluded, Morrison walked to his private office and activated a communication link to Earth. President Sarah Davis appeared on the screen, her face showing the satisfaction of a leader who had seen her people overcome impossible odds. Admiral, the colony ships are reporting successful landings in 5 new systems. For the first time in 10 years, human children are being born under alien suns. Morrison felt a deep sense of completion. The blockade was broken, the threat was eliminated, and humanity was expanding into the galaxy with capabilities that no species could match. The aliens had believed that Earth would stay quiet and accept containment. Instead, 12,000 ships had delivered a message that echoed throughout the galaxy. Humanity could not be caged, could not be contained, and could not be defeated by any force that underestimated the power of the human spirit. The quiet Earth had responded with a voice that the universe would never forget.